The arsenic vial shattered on the hardwood floor of the Double Cross Ranch house, sending shards skittering like accusations. In the doorway stood Ethan Harper, his steel-blue eyes blazing with fury and betrayal that would scar him for life. "Tell me it's a lie, Isabella." His voice broke like thunder over the plains. "Tell me you didn't do it." But the truth loomed between them, thicker than Montana fog. 6 months of heated embraces, stolen moments, and vows in the dark hall erected on the tomb of a poisoned husband. Isabella Grant's raven hair tumbled over her shoulders as she dropped to her knees, her cotton nightdress hugging the figure that had ensnared him completely. "Ethan, please hear me out." The wind rattled the shutters, whispering secrets that belonged in the shadows of Chicago's backstreets. Out here in the wilds, a man's history could bury him, but a woman's? That could destroy everything. In December 1885, the Bitterroot Valley in Montana Territory was locked in ice, 3 feet of snow smothering the land. Ethan Harper, at 26, was unraveling not from the brutal cold or the starving herd, but from isolation that gnawed at his soul. He owned 1,000 head of cattle and 3,000 acres of prime pasture, but wealth rang hollow without someone to share the fire's glow. For years, since his pa fell at the Little Bighorn, for years conversing only with grizzled Hank and the steers, for years without a woman's warmth. The trek to Willow Bend took 3 grueling hours through drifts up to his horse's belly. Ethan's breath plumed in the freezing air as he hitched his stallion outside Murphy's Inn. He needed staples, beans, flour, bullets. What he didn't bargain for was her. Isabella Grant perched in the lobby like a duchess in exile, wrapped in a navy wool gown that accentuated her womanly form. Chestnut hair swept up, exposing a graceful neck that stirred forbidden thoughts. Hazel eyes hiding depths like abandoned wells. She was poring over a volume of Shakespeare in a rough town where half the folks signed with an X. "Ma'am." Ethan tipped his Stetson. She glanced up, and a spark jumped between them, not of recognition, but raw longing. "Ma'am." Her accent hinted at Eastern polish, maybe New York or Boston. "Ethan Harper. I run the Double Cross, 15 miles west." Isabella Grant, lately widowed. She shut the book, finger holding her spot. "I'm looking for housekeeping work." The word widowed hit him like rot gut on empty guts. Here was a lady who knew grief, who might grasp his emptiness. "What sort of housekeeping?" His tone came out gruff. A sly smile tugged her lips. "Meals, mending, running a home. Whatever a gentleman requires." That whatever sent fire through his veins. This wasn't some naive homesteader's daughter. This was a full-grown woman offering more than chores. "Winter's harsh out there," Ethan warned. "Remote. Just me and my foreman. I'm no stranger to solitude, Mr. Harper. Sometimes it's better than entanglements." Molly Murphy bustled in with coffee, eyeing them knowingly. The whole bird would buzz by dawn. Ethan didn't care. "The job's yours through the thaw. Board, meals, and 25 a month." 30. He should have haggled like any shrewd rancher. Instead, he nodded. 30. "Start now. If you'll take me." Those words, in her sultry timbre, nearly undid him. Loading her valise onto the wagon, he caught her Centroses mixed with spice. It made his palms sweat as he lashed the tarp. The ride back crackled with tension, snowflakes swirling like confetti at a doomed wedding. Isabella sat thigh to thigh with him, every rut jolting them closer. He felt her every inhale, watched her tuck stray locks behind her ear. "You're not what I pictured," she said as they topped a ridge overlooking his spread. "What did you figure?" "Someone harder, more worn." The Double Cross sprawled below. Cabin, stables, fences all earned through sweat and loss. But through her gaze, Ethan saw its barrenness anew. "I've been warned plenty," he confessed. "Time for some shaking up." She eyed his jawline in the gloaming. Be wary what you crave, Mr. Harper. Some shakes can shatter a man. He should have heeded that omen, spotted the edge in her words. Instead, he fixated on her mouth, wondering about its flavor, her touch. Grizzled Hank shuffled from the bunkhouse as they arrived, his leathery mug dubious. Is this the help? Isabella Grant, Ethan introduced. My foreman, Hank Wilkins. Hank doffed his cap, but suspicion lingered. Ma'am, I'll tote your gear. Unpacking, Ethan noted her sparse belongings, so woman running, not relocating. From what? Your quarters, he said, guiding her in. The place transformed with her presence, cozier, vital. Isabella glided through, fingertips grazing surfaces like claiming territory. It's sturdy, she murmured. A true haven. The yearning in her voice, as if she'd hunted for haven forever, twisted his innards. At the stairs base, her gaze down, he sensed peril and potential. What had he welcomed? Isabella Grant turned the double cross from a bachelor's den into a proper homestead. Suppers became feasts. Roast beef and gravy, cornbread fluffy as clouds, peach cobblers that had Hank near tears. She darned shirts with fine seams, stocked shelves like a general, scented rooms with soap and herbs. But the teasing glimpses drove Ethan mad, her humming while churning butter, hips swaying rhythmically, bending to tend the hearth, petticoats peeking, unpinning her hair at dusk, combing waves in her doorway's silhouette. She knew her effect. Damn her. Christmas Eve brought a norther that sealed the valley in hush. Ethan found Isabella in the den, nestled in his pa's armchair with a novel and bourbon. Lamplight gilded her features. Happy holidays, she toasted. He poured rye neat. Ain't much festivity. I've seen bleaker. Shadows crossed her expression. Here, at least, I'm desired. Desired lingered like cigar smoke. She set aside her book more verse in, fixed him with those hazel pools. You're an enigma, Ethan Harper. Young buck with a spread like this. Looks to turn heads, yet hermit-like. The rye scorched. Picky maybe, or scared. She stood, fluid as a cat, closing in till he smelled her essence. Close enough to map her freckles, of craving beyond control. Her palm pressed his chest over his thumping heart. Ethan's air hitched. I'm no green girl, fainting at flattery, Isabella breathed. I'm a woman who claims what she wants. And what's that? Rather than speak, she kissed him gentle probe, then fierce when he yielded, her tongue expert. Ethan's restraint cracked. He hauled her flush, savoring her contours through flimsy cloth. She tasted of liquor and allure, all he'd craved. Isabella drew back, panting. I ought to retire. Ought to, he rasped. Will you? Her grin was wicked. Depends on if you're bold enough to pursue. She sauntered off, curves hypnotic, leaving him stunned. He endured 2 minutes before following. She waited by her window, dressed, but hair loose like midnight silk. Moonbeams paled her skin. Wonder if you'd come. I shouldn't. She turned, eyes molten. Shouldn't. But she was unfastening buttons, deliberate dress pooling at her feet, revealing swells that dried his throat, generous bosom heaving, waist for his grasp, hips promising ecstasy. Lord, Isabella. She closed the gap, nude against his garb, fingers attacking his shirt. So lonely, she murmured on his neck. Don't leave me alone. What ensued was blaze and bourbon and frenzy. Ethan had known women barroom types trading for silver. This was worlds apart. Isabella offered herself freely, moaning at his caresses, directing him to her delights, unveiling joys unimagined. After, entwined in her cot, her head on his chest. Stay. He should have slipped to his room, kept decorum. Instead, he drew the blanket, cradling her. Isabella, he whispered in the black. Your husband, how'd he pass? She stiffened. Consumption. That's it. A beat. What more? But her inflection rang rehearsed. Nothing, Ethan said at last. Nothing. She eased, breath steadying. But he stared ceiling-ward till dawn, quelling the nag. Secrets lurk in all, especially hers. Winter clamped the Bitterroot tighter, and Ethan plunged deeper into Isabella's web. She claimed his bed unspoken, bringing her rose spice and nocturnal murmurs. He'd never tasted such bliss. Days of toil, nights of fire. She matched his ardor, proving a woman's fire rivaled a man's. Wed me, he urged one March dawn, watching her plait her tresses at his glass. Her fingers froze. Ethan, I'm serious. He enfolded her from behind. Come spring, fetch the judge from Missoula. Make it right. In the mirror, her hazel orbs met his flicker of fragility, veiled. You don't know me fully for vows. I know plenty. His mouth grazed her earlobe. You taste like nectar at sunup. You call my name when I stroke you thus. You're the finest gift to this ranch. If past truths alter your heart. Ethan spun her. Damn the past. Only tomorrow matters. She smiled. I shadowed. My naive, faithful Ethan. That noon, as Isabella pegged wash and sang an old city ditty, Hank yanked Ethan aside. Boss, words. To the shed. Hank's face is stormy. About your lady. Watch it. No, you watch. Hank's edge cut. In town yesterday, grabbing feed. Chatted with Molly Murphy. Ethan's gut iced. She quizzed on your Mrs. Grant's roots. Turns out, she's nosed on poison sign Zast the sawbones about strychnine, particularly. Maybe fretting over vermin bait. Hank scowled. Molly wired her kin in Chicago, a cop. Inquired on Victor Grant, croaked last fall. The chill spread. And sudden death. Wealthy trader, wed 15 years to a younger bride. No kids. Hank wrung his gloves. Signs fit strychnine, but widow bolted west for probes. Ethan gaped, brain whirling. Murder. Guarding you, son. She pops up, siren pretty and tempting twice over. Snares you fast, clouds your judgment. Enough, but fragments aligned. Isabella's jitters at Eastern mail, sly queries on local badges, nightmare wakings, yelping unfamiliar names. Where's she? Hank nodded houseward. Where chimney puffed and linens fluttered, Isabella prepping another flawless spread, prime for tender welcomes. Can't be, Ethan muttered. Prove otherwise. Rummage her stuff. Grill her straight. But Ethan strode home, Hank's barb echoing. Cloud your judgment. He cornered Isabella in the galley, flower on her smock as she kneaded doga picture of homey allure. Back soon, she beamed. Chow's not, question. His timbre halted her. What? He scanned for deceit, the dread truth. Your husband precise cause? Her roller paused, pallor draining. Told you, consumption. Did he writhe, Isabella? Ethan, why did he writhe? She placed the tool with care. Yes, from lung rot. A whisper, no. Strychnine. The blow floored him. He retreated, hand a holster. Christ, Isabella. Let me explain. You slew him. Yes. Her jaw set, unbowed in admission. The space shrank, air-leaden. This lover, promise whisperer, joy-bringer killer. Why? Broken query. Isabella's digits shook, untying her wrap. He was slaughtering me piecemeal with blows, torments, commands. 15 years of bondage, not marriage. So poison. I liberated myself. Ethan edged doorward, thoughts chaotic. How'd he know she wouldn't dose him? Her composure cracked. Because I cherish you, idiot. First true love in my wretched existence. But affection from a slayer, was it genuine or venom-veiled? Outside, gales shrieked infernal. The strychnine flask rested betwixt them on the plank like a primed pistol. Isabella fetched it from her case unbidden, steady despite weeping. Kept it, she said softly. Safeguard if history hunted. Ethan fixated on the Viala benign vessel for lethal might. Ought to haul you in. You should. They're hunting you. Aware. You manipulated me, betted me for cover. She recoiled like slapped. Initially not later. Never later. Ethan recalled months. Dawn chuckles, her mending his hurts, turning his shell into a sanctuary, holding him through terrors, affirming his worth. If I release you, he said deliberately, swear no more deaths. I vow. And if you remain, she lifted her gaze, hope battling terror. I'll prove daily I'm beyond my nadir. Outside, Hank waited with mounts rigged for the martial 4 miles through drifts to Willow Bend. For miles to surrender his savior from solitude. Ethan seized the vial. Isabella held still as he crossed the range and hurled it in. Glass burst, flames leaping blue and toxic. Victor Grant's gone. Isabella Harper never was, per records. You came west widowed, leave wedded. She crumpled into him, heaving sobs. Ethan clutched her, inhaling roses and shadows and absolution's pledge. Some folks find salvation in faith, others in a bottle or fortune or battle. Ethan Harper found his in a murderess who killed for freedom. Beneath Montana's stars, odder redemptions had bloomed. What do you think, should Ethan have turned Isabella in, or was forgiveness the right call? Drop your take in the comments below. Stand your ground and share your views. I'd love to hear where you land on this twisted tale of love and secrets.